Welcome back to Edgework on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can find us live on YouTube as Edgework. You can find us on Twitter at EdgeworkHQ, and of course, you can find all the picks that we give out on this show. Track them in real time, see how we do after the fact on the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as EdgeworkHQ. We made them all the same across all the platforms, so it's much easier to find there. You can see it across the bottom of the screen. So if at any point you want to follow us or subscribe or see what's going on, make sure to go over to those channels. Andy, just you and I today. Alex is out sick. So how's it going this morning?
Well, I feel like we're on a date, kind of. You know?
So we went from a group setting. We went from a group setting. We were friends, and now we get the solo spin-off on the side.
Group play. I'm a big fan of the group play. I don't know. We'll see if this is any good. But no, I'm a little bit off this morning because I was having some trouble. I got logged out of the content management system to post on the VSiN website this morning, and I was fucking around with that and never got that rectified. So I had to send an article off to have somebody else post on the website, and kind of got behind on looking at a few things, but we'll lean on the chat today. I know. Morning, Jeremy. What's up, buddy? Hopefully, it's more than just you. 2 Red Bulls for Eddie. Fuck, I'm really fucking up on my New Year's resolutions here, right? Like, I wanted to give up Red Bull and cigarettes, and oh man.
Oh, you didn't give up on either of them? Well, I obviously see the Red Bulls there. But
I have worked out 3 days in a row though, so there is that. That's
nice. There you go.
Might have a full 5-6 day stretch consecutive before the end of the month. Maybe it kind of salvages one of my 15 New Year's resolutions.
Well, I'm not advocating for it by any means, but all the people who live to 100, 120 years old, they smoke a pack a day. Those people, they just keep it consistent. So
it's probably going to be something else that kills me before cigarettes. I'm gonna guess, but we'll see.
So
smoking is good, everybody. You hear that, YouTube? Smoking is good. No, I'm just joking. It's bad. It's terrible. Kids, smoking, gambling, both very bad. Equally bad. Equally bad, okay. Actually. If you ask people on Twitter that hate the gambling advertisements on TV. I mean, I don't like them either, but gambling is as bad as smoking. That's well,
to them, it's actually worse. They hate it more. But today we'll go through each of the games. We'll just dig into them. Maybe not best bets in any of them, but we'll probably have some stuff to look at, maybe some leans or some news to react to, or things you can play based on news that might come out or goalies that go in. So we'll look into each of the games and then have some best bets. But if anybody in the chat has any questions, of course, make sure to ask throughout the course of the show. We will dig into them, especially today. Today more than ever. Good comment.
Congratulations. Welcome to a lifetime of misery and loogies.
But make sure to ask the questions in the chat. We'll get into them. And if you're on Twitter, we won't see them in real time, unfortunately. So make sure to head over to the YouTube channel. If you are on Twitter, you can see the link is in the description of that tweet there. You can click on that and you'll be directed right to today's video, where you can also like and subscribe to the Edgework YouTube channel. But Andy, the first thing I want to get into, it didn't necessarily make news or anything this morning. I haven't seen too much out of it, but Bruce Boudreau obviously out in Vancouver finally.
Rick Tocchet in as the new head coach of the Canucks.
Bruce Boudreau and for the Canucks. Yeah, and Rick Tocchet goes in. They win their first game with him behind the bench last night against the Blackhawks, 5-2. Now, I am curious not as much about the impact of Tocchet specifically, but we've had conversations on this show about the phenomenon of star player goes out, team experiences a little bump. Star player comes back, team drops off a little bit. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are, or if there's any kind of support, or if it's just a non-factor of a new coach behind the bench and the type of impact that has short-term and long-term for a team.
Well, I think that there is something to the new coach bump for sure, but then you have situations like this where Boudreau gets fired, and he said it himself, the average win percentage of their last, I don't know how many opponents, 12, 10 or 12, I forget. But it was a pretty lengthy list of opponents there to end his tenure as head coach. And the average winning percentage was like 610, right? And then they come in, and now, of course, Seattle's a good team, but they get Chicago, Seattle, and one more kind of weak team here. I think it might be Anaheim. I'm not sure. Somebody like that. Um, but that's what they get in these first three games. So obviously Chicago last night, they dominated the Blackhawks and were able to pick up that win. But like I said, it's tough to gauge how much of that is, hey, the Canucks are playing the Blackhawks, and yeah, they're a little bit inspired, I guess, to get a win, but they've been inspired to get a win a lot probably recently with with Boudreau being axed and whatnot, and wanting to get a win for him, because I mean, by all accounts, everybody was a fan of Bruce Boudreau as far as as a person and whatnot. So I don't know, it's tough in this situation, but yeah, I do think there is something. I mean, the data supports that there's a bump in that for new coaches, but I think if you look at the long term, you see like Jay Woodcroft. I mean, I wrote in my kind of preseason preview of the Oilers in the NHL betting guide, that the honeymoon period for Woodcroft was over, and this season was going to be a real test for him. And I think we've seen the Oilers kind of go through struggles this season, and they weren't playing very well. So I mean, it's long term. It's there's staleness, there's complacency, there is I don't think it's and even Boudreau, I mean, he was a great example too. The Canucks were really, really hot and great under him at first, and specifically on offense. But then they had the great goaltending from Thatcher Demko. So you need everything to go right in a lot of ways. That has a lot to do with it. But yeah, there's definitely a honeymoon period, and it's kind of up in the air how long that lasts, and it can go maybe long term for some teams like the Oilers and go all the way to the Western Conference Final playing great. But like I said, a lot has to go right too.
Yeah, and it's Columbus is that third leg. So yeah, like as you're saying, another poor team that they're gonna be able to face there. And this one was a weird just case study all around as well, because despite what you might feel about Bruce Boudreau as a coach or as a person, I feel like no matter who's in that situation or around that room and stuff, the situation itself of how things were handled, you kind of almost even sympathize with the guy, because like that's an uncomfortable way for things to finish. So transitioning from that into the new guy it's going to be a interesting thing to watch there in Vancouver, especially because, as you kind of alluded to with Demko and coming in last year when Boudreau came in, played really well. Well, part of what is like you hear a lot of guys talk about is what could save or kill a coach's job is goaltending. And this year, all three goaltenders who have played at some point for the Canucks are below 900 save percentage. Like at some point, it's going to kill you, and that team doesn't really have isn't strong defensively. So those things are just going to catch up, even if without your systems, if you don't have good defensemen playing.
Yeah, I just on a kind of side note, I think it's in like sports are interesting that we see all this stuff play out, because I mean, people get treated shitty in jobs everywhere, right? And
yeah,
you just don't get to see it kind of play out like this. And people, like I said, people are let go all the time with under really poor circumstances, and showing little respect and whatnot. And I mean, this is a good example of just how shitty some corporations can be. And guys like Jim Rutherford and the rest of the Canucks management group is getting a pretty bad reputation pretty fast. I mean, well, not Jim Rutherford's been around forever, but the rest of the management group is becoming pretty much the most hated one in the league right now.
And a comment here from Jeremy Kahn saying, I think it's more the players trying to prove themselves to the new coach, make a good impression, than playing for the coach himself. I would think that you got
to go up to Middy's comment there. That's the winner, Troy McClure. I mean, he's shaped who I am as a person, and I think his ad libs or not ad libs, sorry, but his little ads in The Simpsons. I mean, they've made me who I am today.
All right, well, we will go through each of these games. So let's start with that Vancouver team. They are playing Seattle tonight on a back-to-back. Do get that win there. They're going to face off against Seattle in Seattle tonight. Vancouver, obviously not being a great team all year long, but not great as well on the road, 10-12-1, facing off against a Seattle team who, interestingly enough, 11-9-3 at home. They did just lose to the Avs 2-1. But I mean, I don't know how much you take into account the deserve to win a meter. It's something that I usually look at just to kind of see some of the analytics of things behind that. But they were 59% on the deserve to win a meter in that game against the Avs. It was like 2.53 expected goals versus them, versus the Avs with a 1.97 kind of thing, taking that away. So it's like in a lot of these games, even when they're losing some of them, like they're still finding ways, they're still playing really well and finding ways to get points in different situations. So is there anything you would look at in this game tonight, or anything kind of stand out to you from a player prop perspective to look for?
Well, sorry, I'm just pulling up something here. I don't know why it's closed, but it is. But yeah, the Kraken are dealing with some injury situations here. Heading in, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Sorry, I apologize. I'm gonna
It's all good.
have
It's
to
all
move
good.
to my I'm gonna have to move to my desktop here to refresh my memory as far as who is out for, or possibly out for, Seattle. So the Kraken, you've got Yanni Gourde listed day to day. You've got Andrei Burakovsky listed day to day, and you have Justin Schultz and Jaden Schwartz, who are both expected to be out till, well, Schwartz is expected to be out till the end of the month, and Schultz is expected to be out till almost the middle of February. This is gonna create opportunities for other guys, and specifically a guy that I really like is Daniel Sprong. He is 10th in the league right now, or in January, sorry, in goals per 60 minutes, and he's going to get a chance to play on the top line. According to what Daily Faceoff has here, things can change, obviously, but he's going to have a chance to play with Matty Beniers and Jordan Eberle on the top line. Obviously, we got to wait and find out whether or not Yanni Gourde and Burakovsky are going to be in. But regardless, I mean, I think the potential for Sprong to be on the top line is great. But he's been scoring a ton of goals anyways, and he's in a good position. Even playing down in the lineup, he's getting good minutes, and on the first power play unit next to Eberle and Beniers as well. So I think there's a good opportunity for him. You can shop around. I know Pinnacle had plus 260 on an anytime goal. Some prices as bad as plus 220. But yeah, oh wow, plus 280 at Caesars. Yeah, no, I like Sprong. I think Beniers is always a guy that's going to be in the mix, obviously, but I look at the opportunity, or the possible opportunity, for Daniel Sprong here, and I really like that. So that's my best bet for this game.
I like it. And you see here, Aaron Lappin saying Sprong first goal score for a sprinkle.
My dad's been betting this season. He deposited like $500 into a Bodog account, got the deposit bonus, and has been on his way. He's in Nova Scotia, so don't really have a lot of options there anyway. But I told him, I tell him my player props that I like every day, and I told him Andre Palat was a good bet to score a point last night at plus 110 or plus 105, whatever it was, and he translated that as Palat first goal scorer, and sure enough, Palat hit.
Yeah, that's the one where he scores like later in the game, and then he's like, "Why didn't this win?" What happened here, Andy?
Yeah, I had to straighten him out there. He was like, he was every game that he wanted to bet on. He'd bet like if it was the Avs and the Lightning, he'd bet like McKinnon and Rantanen and Point and Kucherov first goal scorer, and it's like, dude, like, chill out.
Yeah. All right, so we locked that in, track that on the BetStamp app. You can find those in real time on the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. Make sure to go check that out. We are up on the season across all the different groups that go, up 32.8 units so far, 6.6% ROI. So
Andy's dad confirmed sharp. He does all right. He does all right with his little player props, I think, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure he might be up. I know he's doing all right, better than I thought he would, for sure.
I'll tell you this. My dad started betting this year as well, and he is up, and it was by the most ridiculous thing ever. He had one day, he bet Vladdy home run and Santiago Espinal home run, and like Espinal not really hitting home runs, and they both hit. And Espinal was like plus 1,200 or something that day.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was just a double on him for that. So it was like that set him up for the rest of the year after that. Make sure if you have any questions, though, direct them to the chat. You can ask us about any of the games or anything that you guys see in there. We'll try to get to them, dig through stuff. But, Andy, I do want to touch on this Rangers-Leafs game here tonight. The Rangers are the team who broke Marner's streak and the Leaf streak the last time that they played. The Rangers currently holding on to the third wildcard spot in the Metro, 7-2-1 in their last 10. They had a convincing win against the Panthers, 6-2 in their last game. Coming into Toronto here tonight on the road while Toronto's on this big homestand. I believe it's 5 games at home that Toronto's going to be playing. The Rangers have been a pretty good road team, 14-5-3 on the road so far this season. But the Leafs as well, a good home team, 18-3-4 at home. Not sure if there was any update on goaltending, but it looked like Samsonov was going to be the guy. Haven't seen
Murray
any
hasn't
new...
started since when? The 16th or something?
Since the game against the Panthers, which would have been...
I had projected Murray,
Tuesday.
So I guess we'll consider that as far as my handicap. But
yeah,
I had Toronto, I believe, around minus 145. So I'm pretty much neutral here. I guess Rangers are nothing at this point, right? So I haven't really considered whether or not Halak, like he started recently, I believe. I'm kind of mixed up here, but I think I hadn't considered whether Halak could possibly start. I just went with Shesterkin. So I have Toronto minus 145, and yeah, I'm a little surprised that the Rangers. I kind of figured I would be kind of right in the middle there today with this one, but yeah. So I guess Rangers are nothing, but just a borderline play there at some. No, never mind. Only profit exchange.
I'm seeing here. Looks like Murray will be the guy.
Big brain Andy. I mean, you just can't let those guys sit for too long, right? You gotta get that guy in there.
Well, actually, I have a question for you. I mean, you're neutral in this game, so there's not as much from a betting side, but this just kind of goes for any team. And one thing that we're seeing a lot of is one thing we're seeing a lot of with some of these teams is like running a 1A, 1B. And that's great, I think, for the regular season. I don't think that that's a problem. I think that can be really successful. I think it's probably where things are going, especially in terms of sports science and analytics from that standpoint of don't overuse guys and try to make sure that they're healthy for playoffs. From your personal perspective and maybe some analytics in this is like, at what point do you start to have to narrow down, hey, this is our starting goalie? Because it's been a conversation around the Leafs, and that's kind of where I'm going to be pulling this from. Sorry, that's the hometown stuff of like watching this closely, but like it's been Murray, then Samsonov, then Murray, and you're just rotating through these guys. And yeah, it's great when they're both playing well, but then you're kind of approaching playoffs. You have to decide on a number one guy. Can you just do that when you get to the playoffs? Like, what do you have to do to figure out these goalies, and like, how do you kind of determine that?
I think it changes in the playoffs, but I think there's good examples in the past, even decade. Take Pittsburgh for example, where they used 2 goaltenders and won a Stanley Cup, right? Like, it happens. I mean, they
with Murray.
I don't what
with Murray.
Yeah. Like I mean, it happens. It's not unheard of. I think the NHL is changing a lot, and I'm more than ever having trouble projecting starting goaltenders. I think it's a little more difficult, like with a lot of these teams. I mean, there's just no obvious choice here. I mean, you don't know what they're like. I have no idea what is going into Jared Bednar's. I'm just using him as an example because I think they have 2 very similar goaltenders in Francouz and Georgiev as far as their save percentage and whatnot. I have no idea what a coach like Bednar is thinking about. Is he looking at matchup details? Like, is he looking at certain things with shooters? How this team has a lot of guys that do this, so I'm going to play this goal. Like, I have no idea if it's that in depth or if it's simply like, oh, I played this guy the last 2 games, got to give this guy a start. So that's kind of how I look at it, right? A lot of the time where I'm looking at guys that are resting a little bit too long during the regular season and like probably have to get in for another start because and then you look for the kind of, I guess, the competition too. Not that the Rangers are an easy matchup by any means, but you try to look for games where it's like, okay, well, maybe they get him in here. But with Toronto, they're another team that it's just really tough. I mean, Samsonov, they've been rolling with him lately, but I don't think it's anything set in stone. And I don't think even in the playoffs, if they go in and they win a series, I know that's not going to happen. But if that happens and one goaltender wins a series and he struggles early in the next series, I don't think necessarily that the team is going to, be scared to pull the trigger and say, look, we're going to go with this guy and see what happens. And we're not telling you that you'll never start again in this playoff run. But I don't think there will be a goaltender set in stone for Toronto or Colorado or, there's some other teams. I think a guy like Vanacek is maybe winning, obviously really won the role in New Jersey, especially with his play as of late. But, there's a handful of tandems around the league where it's like, yeah, it could be either guy. I think even in Carolina, man, if Anderson somehow, struggled or was dealing with a little bit of a, any kind of nagging injury or anything, I don't think that they'd be, necessarily, like against pulling the trigger and going with Ranta again or going with Kochetkov, right? Because it's just, they have confidence in those guys. And maybe we look at it like, that's crazy, but I don't know.
I see Ray Music here saying, what's up, guys? He's new. Welcome to the chat. Appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if anybody's watching right now that hasn't, please make sure to subscribe to the Edgework YouTube channel. You can like this stream as well and turn on notifications by clicking the bell so you get notified every time we go live or a new video is posted. Like today, there will be a video coming out. We have a new podcast launching on the Edgework channel with David Pagnotta, Dennis Bernstein, and Zach Bodenstein on there talking about anything going on in the NHL, futures markets, coaches, all that kind of stuff. That'll be in the podcast. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notified when that comes out as well. But let's move on to the next game here. Islanders heading to Ottawa. The Islanders right now 5 points out of the playoff spot in the East. They're 1-6-3 in their last 10, currently on a 5-game losing streak. 10-12-3 on the road on the season heading into Ottawa here, who is 4-6 in their last 10. They are 12-11-1 at home. Is this a good spot for the Islanders to maybe snap out of this losing streak and find themselves on the positive side here on the road in Ottawa, or is this another spot where this streak continues for them?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Islanders winning this one more often than not. I mean, these two teams are pretty close in terms of offense over the last 20, 25 games or so since the start of December. And they've got an edge in goal, whether it's because I have Cam Talbot projected to start. And I think the Islanders have an edge in goal, whether it's Sorokin or Varlamov, who I have projected to start a little more often than Sorokin in this spot because he hasn't in a little while here. So I think the Islanders win more often than not. But that being said, things have flipped. Do I have the Islanders? Man, am I crazy? I think I might have had this one. Like I said, I didn't post my article. I'm gonna have to look. Sorry, give me a sec.
No worries.
All screwed up here as far as my projected prices because I'm a little bit taken back by seeing Ottawa -120, and maybe I'm thinking about one of the other games. Like, because I know there was a couple of close ones. Carolina Dallas is one that I had at basically a pick 'em. And yeah. I have my head up my ass right now. Sorry.
It's all good.
Where are you, Alex? You're God damn it, man. There's no sick days on edge work. Pull your ass out of bed. You put the thermometer in your mouth. Whatever you gotta do, get on here. Yeah, I have the I oh no. Okay, yeah, sorry. I have Ottawa. I have Islanders minus 107 as a projected price here, I think. Yeah, minus 107. So, small edge on New York at even money. Um I guess wait until the goaltender is confirmed here, and make a decision then. But I don't think there's a lot separating these two teams, and I think the Isles, they've got Pellick back, and that's going to help them. I think they desperately needed him over
Yep.
this last stretch here without him, and it didn't. It's going to take a little bit. The Islanders do stink, but Sorokin is a great goaltender. Varlamov is an above average goaltender, I think. And like I said, a guy like Pellick and back in the lineup and getting him back into the mix is gonna help the team in the next little bit.
Yeah, this Islanders team, it was interesting looking at the playoff standings there and seeing they were 5 points out. I mean, you're in a situation where
Well, they're a
they've
scary
got
team from the playoff perspective because if they get in, Sorokin is he is a
exactly.
really dangerous goalie, and I don't think they can go on like a lengthy run with the team they have, but I do think that they can screw a team season up for sure. Um, a
Yeah.
7 game series, a lot of crazy stuff can happen. So
Yeah, and it is interesting too because we were looking at the East and saying this is essentially going to be wrapped up. Well, as far as the top teams, it is, and that's going to be what it is. But the West, you have an opportunity for tons of movement throughout, even within Dallas, Winnipeg, Colorado. Like Colorado's now finding themselves in third in the Central there, and then you've got sliding through is like teams are pretty close to each other there for opportunities for movement, whereas the East, I mean, your Bruins. I audibly laughed the other day when I pulled up the standings. They're 14 points ahead of the next closest teams, and that's the Leafs in Carolina. And the Leafs in
I
Carolina,
love
I
it.
mean, and New Jersey as well. Got to make sure you get that in there, New Jersey. But like they're decently ahead of the teams behind them in the East.
Yeah, I mean, Boston, like just from a fan's perspective, man, it's awesome, and it's like, I think a lot of people always get nervous when their team is the best regular season team, like, and there's that, oh, this team, they'll choke they'll be spent when they get to the playoffs, it'll all dry up, blah blah blah, whatever that narrative, but because we've seen so many President's Trophies winners, go out in round one and whatnot, but the Bruins they're a different group, right? This isn't like an upstart team that's all of a sudden good. They're a team that's been kind of toiling away, trying to rebuild and get back here for one last run. This is the kind of shit that you make documentaries about, right? Like, I mean, if Bergeron and Krejci and these guys actually got together and can pull off a Stanley Cup championship in 2023, I think, like, it's the stuff of legends. So I mean, it's pretty cool. I think fans should enjoy it. But from a betting perspective, I mean, like last night's game in Montreal, I thought it was obviously a more tightly contested game than I would have liked. But there's unlike the game or unlike the matchup with Toronto, there's like no rivalry between Boston and Montreal anymore. The Bruins have won 8 straight
Yeah.
after last night. They're like 18-7-1 dating back to 2015-16. The Canadians haven't beaten them since 2019, right? Like the games aren't close, and um, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what Boston does the rest of the season. But I don't see them slowing down. They've covered the puck line in 9 out of their last 13 games now, 7 straight on the road. I think 14 out of 21 road games they're winning on the puck line. And everybody's been talking about their play on home ice, but they're just as good on the road, arguably, right? So they're a scary team. I think the East is just so dangerous, though. It's gonna be tough to get through the playoffs, and even a team like Washington could give Boston trouble in the first round if that's what it is, or the Islanders with Sorokin standing on his head. Like they're gonna be big favorites, especially come playoff time, I think, and yeah, it'll be tough to bet on them if they continue this. But there's still a lot of opportunities. I think at the regular season, you're going to see some huge prices. But I thought minus 130 on the puck line, which was around for the better part of the evening prior to last night's game, like 2 nights ago, and into the morning. I think I thought that was a great price, and like you couldn't get that at game time. It was like minus 165 at a lot of rec books, and
Right.
as Pinnacle had minus 2.5, I think. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was there's going to be puck line plays on the Bruins going forward, and you're going to have to lay a little bit of chalk, but I think there's some worthwhile plays here for Boston still.
So I don't think we had anything in the Carolina Dallas game. So we'll go to the Columbus Edmonton one.
Well,
but if anybody
you can
touch on
obviously
it,
Rupe Hintz is back. That's going to help Dallas. Tyler Seguin stepped up big time while he was out. But great kind of player prop note too. Didn't get a chance. I don't think we got a chance to talk about. I didn't get a chance to talk about it on Edgework because it just didn't line up with scheduling. But like a guy like Seguin, I mean, you see him catch fire there, playing on the top line with Jason Robertson. It's like a lot of these player props, specifically when it comes to points and stuff like that, is all circumstances, right? I mean, it's a guy. They're very timely things that don't last very long. So, yeah, Rupe Hintz is going to take away from that Sagan run, and then you have Carolina with Jacob Slavin doubtful to play today, which is a big blow. So. I've got the Carolina Hurricanes at minus 106, I believe. So they're a favorite, minus 115. I don't think there's a play to be had here, but yeah, gonna be a good game though. These two teams. I mean, it's one of those games where it has the feel of a 3-2 kind of game but it seems like when these teams play each other, it can get pretty wild too. So I mean, they're just very driven teams that kind of like to drive the issue and force a lot of shots and take a lot of shots. So I think it's going to be a fun, high paced game.
Aaron, mentioning as well, Islanders lost 9 straight when underdogs, and then the Stars burned them the other day in OT. Go Canes.
Yeah, Dallas has been a tough team for me to handicap this year, that's for sure. And when I have bet on them, it's kind of blown up in my face. The last time they had a 3-0 lead versus the Sharks, I'm looking for them to cash a team total. They had 33 minutes to score a goal, and they couldn't do it. Frustrating team. I've seen they got the short end of the stick when it comes to Jake Ottinger's goaltending too, which sucks. So, because that doesn't happen very often. I've just happened to pick a lot of the games where he played bad. But yeah, it's been a rough ride with Dallas and some of these other teams that are kind of look elite, but probably aren't elite.
Right. Well, let's get to the final game of the night. If anybody missed the earlier games, you can obviously watch this back on YouTube, or you can find this on all podcasting platforms as Edgework. But final game of the night here, Columbus, Edmonton. This Columbus team is terrible. Going on the road to Edmonton here too. They're 3-15 and 2 on the road, which is honestly almost even irrelevant given how bad they've been in general this season. This Edmonton team right now, they're really hot. They're on a 6-game win streak. They've been Vander Kane. They got Evander Kane back. I mean, he hasn't really
not
made
anymore.
any.
He's out today.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
He's out due to personal reasons.
Yes,
and that's obviously gonna, it sucks, but I think Columbus is just so bad. I just want to say though, the other night in college, that game was really fun. I enjoyed watching that game and finished in overtime. Gaudreau has the penalty shot in the first period. It was just a really good game. Lots of emotion. McDavid over 2.5 goals. And man, he just, why he pisses me off so much? I love Connor McDavid, don't get me wrong, but the dude's playing like 23, 24 minutes a night. It's like, I've got that Pasternak, Rocket Richard, and I'm like, this is never going to fucking catch him, man. When he's playing 24 minutes a night, he's getting like 5 more minutes per game. And it's like, It's just he gets so much ice time, and it's just it's not unfair, but it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. It's just, and then you got, Pasternak over there with like 14 minutes or something. Like, I don't know. It's drive me nuts because I know if they both play 25 minutes a night, I might have a chance, right? But man, yeah, he's just such a dominant force. But I'm looking at Zach Hyman tonight. Dude's been, for the better part of the last month now, maybe longer. He's the shot generator for the Oilers, and he's had some big games recently. Where he's got up around 8 or 9 shots in a game, and he's at over 3.5. Minus 120, yeah, minus 115. Some good prices out there. The Blue Jackets, man, they give up a ton of shots, and they give up a ton of shots on, I think, the most shots on the road right now this season per game, over 35 shots per game. He's on a line with McDavid and Draisaitl. He's on the top power play, man. This is a bet that should win more often than the minus 120 odds suggest. And you would think that the Oilers are going to take it to the Blue Jackets and just dominate this game from start to finish.
All right, well, I have some anytime goal scorer props that I wanted to
Cool.
look at here and kind of just bounce them off you. We'll kind of discuss them a little bit, and then we can dig into whether or not we'll track them and place them ourselves. But I want to start with Zach Hyman. Right now, his shooting percentage is above his career average, but he's gone up to 14.5%, 19.8% in a couple of years. He's been at 13, which he's currently at right now. Before he hit 12.7 last year, so like you're looking at a guy who's about around where he usually is. He has been able to go up higher. He's playing big minutes. You see Evander Kane going out here again today. Like there's going to be an opportunity for him to even fill different roles with that being out. I was looking at Zach Hyman, anytime goal scorer here tonight against Columbus, a team who's allowing a lot of goals against them. Any thoughts on that? He's sitting at plus 130, so it's way lower than where it's been. Plus 130 best price available, way lower than where it's been before. But any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean it's tough price, and I think the problem with anytime goal scorers is that, and player props in general, I think a lot of, like, mathematically they aren't really good bets. I mean,
Right.
if you look at a player's scoring rates um and you go through it and kind of actually try to calculate the probability that this player scores a goal in a given game, even if you do take into account the opponent and whatnot, it's very hard to find value on these top players. And then it becomes a thing where you're almost handicapping the anytime goal scorers and the player points as, well, relative to the odds of his teammates, the odds are good, right? Like, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
something like that. Like that's what the game becomes. Like, oh, well, McDavid is priced at this and Draisaitl is priced at this. I don't know what their goal scorer props are, but I imagine they're lower than plus 130 or higher, I should say, than plus 130. Yeah, so that's who's that? Draisaitl, yeah,
Draisaitl.
so minus 125. McDavid's probably up higher than that.
Yeah, minus
So
130.
yeah, so I mean, you look at Hyman and you say, okay, relative to his line mates, the guys he plays on the power play with, yeah, his odds are attractive. But
Right.
I think in the grand scheme of things, it's a minus EV bet. It doesn't have a lot of value. It's kind of, but it's a fun bet at the same time. And I mean, I think if you're gambling for fun, if you just, you want to throw those $5 and $10 bets down, Hyman is a guy that you look at because of what I said. He's, relative to his line mates, it's a bit of an attractive price. And if you look statistically, the guy generates the most expected goals per 60 minutes on the team. Outside of Evander Kane, he generates the most shots per 60 minutes. So he's playing a team tonight that's, gonna give up a lot of shots, presumably, and he's playing on a line with guys that are gonna get him the puck and a power play that's gonna crush. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's a good bet. Like, we should lock it in for fun. It's,
Okay.
I think that's where I'm at on it. It's not like, We're betting him to get a lot of shots tonight, and let's bet on him to score a goal too, right? I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to me. But I do think like anytime goal scorers in general, they're really tough. The top players, the top performers, like Nichushkin. Remember how he, the second leg of my parlay, how he scored at plus 175 or plus 174.
Yeah.
Like he won't be priced in that range for long. These guys where their circumstances change and stuff, they won't be priced that way for long. So, I mean, if you see a guy like Hyman getting maybe a little bit even more ice time tonight than he would in a game where Evander Kane was playing, they're gonna have to lean on him a little bit more maybe. So, yeah, I like it.
All right, so we locked that one in. I have two more here. They're in the same game. The one I'm nervous about because he did just score 2 goals the other night. Anders Lee, anytime goal scorer, currently sitting plus 245. It's going to follow like a lot of what you said is very, very applicable here as well, obviously. Some of this was just Anders Lee's being a guy that we've looked at a few times throughout this season. One guy Rob was on earlier. He's kind of around that same price. He did just score 2 the other day, but I feel like we could be in for a situation here where Ottawa might be able give up a bunch of goals to the Islanders. I know that the Islanders aren't the most offensively creative team in the NHL, but if you get in a spot like this where it's kind of 2 teams on a similar playing field, that could be a possibility. And Anders Lee is below his career average shooting percentage. And yes, some of this is hard to kind of determine, but average of 14%. He's had seasons where he's gone to 13, 17, 19. He hit 17 twice. So kind of expecting it to maybe go up a little bit here, continue on. He is hot after he scores 2 the other night, which could go either way. But at plus 245, I thought that was a pretty good number on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's right up there with the guy that wishes he was Anders Lee, John Tavares, as far as expected goals per 60 minutes in the month of January. Zach Hyman still at the top of that list, though. But I mean, Anders Lee, he's 14th in all players actually, in all situations. He just doesn't generate as many shots as the guys on this list. Like, I mean, you look at the guys that generate the most expected goals per 60 minutes: Hyman, Tavares, Dubois, Pacioretty, Hischier, McDavid, Tkachuk. These are Fiala. These are guys that generate upwards of a dozen shots per 60, more than that, right? And Anders Lee is a guy that gets like 7 shots per 60 minutes, and it's I guess a nod to how good of or how efficient of a shooter he is, that he can pick the corners and whatnot and make things happen with the few shots that he takes. But he is not a guy that I necessarily look at a lot for goal scoring because of I just don't think the odds line up a lot of the time with where he probably should be priced. He's a guy that I kind of put in the same boat as Tkachuk right now, except it's the opposite. Tkachuk is a shot generator that doesn't generate as many goals as you would hope.
Well, I'm just gonna say, pat myself on the back. Friday, I said Tkachuk anytime goal, and Tkachuk scored the goal. So,
and then this fucking asshole over here is like,
he's throwing out parlays.
Not a good bet. Bet this parlay.
No, I appreciate the response. Like, I was looking to find some of these, and some of them are just.
I want the video of him beating up his brother because I know it happened. I saw this clip where where they were asking, I'm guessing, reading fan questions or something, and Matthew Tkachuk was reading it. He was like, who would win in a fight? And Brady just looked at him. He's just like, yeah, we don't got to talk about it. He kicked the shit out of me. Like, I need to, because this obviously happened, right? Like, there has to have been something recently, or since they have been men, there has to be something that has settled this.
Oh, I've heard Matthew talk about it, and he was asked what would happen if they went toe to toe, and he's like, yeah, no, like, I wouldn't do it. And it was like very obvious. He was like, yeah, like I get my head punched in.
Ray Music's asking, do we stream NHL picks every day? Well, I'm not on every day, but I'm on typically on Fridays, starting to do Wednesdays hopefully as much as I can. But the boys, yeah, edge work is on every day at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, right, Zach?
Yes, that's correct. You can find us on
Monday to Friday. Sorry,
Monday to Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on the Edgework YouTube channel. So you can subscribe, like, and make sure to turn on notifications. Last one here. Maybe we'll have another one to lock in. We can go through this one quickly. Drake Batherson, anytime goal scorer. He's kind of up there. He's near the top in expected goals and above where his actual goals are currently. Shooting at a 10% rate right now. Has hit 16, 15, 15 before in his short career. He had the 1 year at 9.4. The Islanders allow 2.87 goals per game, which not the most, but I don't know. I just thought we might be in for a spot here with Drake Batherson anytime goal. Plus 230 right now, best price available.
Sorry, I was typing away and I had to mute my mic because I realized that it was probably annoying. Drake Batherson, obviously a guy that is in the mix with Ottawa all the time. Not a huge shot generator, but definitely a guy that is one of Ottawa's better generators in terms of expected goals. But yeah, over the last month or so, he's just not up there with the likes of Tkachuk and even Derek Brassard. Oh my God, Austin Watson has generated more expected goals per 60 minutes. Maybe can we bet an Austin Watson anytime goal scorer? No, I'm not a big fan of the Batherson play, but I mean he's definitely in the mix. What are the best odds on that? Sorry,
plus 230.
I think there's better bets out there, especially with if you're looking for an anytime goal scorer, I would probably I don't have anybody off the top of my head, but I think there's some better bets out there at that price range, considering that this game might not feature all that many goals.
Fair enough. Yeah, maybe we have to lock in Austin Watson plus 675.
That was a joke, by the way. Nobody. I'm gonna parlay Austin Watson with
Anders Lee,
and Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah,
and it's I'm not gonna do that, and that's gonna fucking happen.
It is. Watch.
Somebody's gonna put $1 on it or something and come away winning 5,000. No, I'm just joking. Austin Watson, first goal scorer. Anders Lee, anytime goal. And Brady Tkachuk over 3.5 goals.
And yeah. And McDavid under 0.5 goals.
Can I speak? Okay, you got to go right away, Zach.
No.
Okay, I gotta get your thoughts on this. Did you see Top Gun Maverick?
Yes, I did.
Did you see it in theaters?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I saw it at the IMAX in Toronto, last spring when I was there with Sportsnet, and me and Cabby went actually. And it was so hyped up. It was it's the best action movie ever, and that's what people were calling it. And I left it was good. And they had cool visual effects, but what happened to the Oscars? I don't really pay attention to the Oscars, but it got nominated for Best Picture. That kind of took me back today. I was like, really? That's crazy.
So I don't know what goes on with the Oscars. I don't follow it at all. And a lot of times I always just see after the fact, people are like, I can't believe this happened. Can't believe this movie was whatever. Yeah. But I think that part of it is I feel like movies haven't been, I don't know, I don't want to say great, but they haven't been to the level that we've seen over a period of time prior, where we continue to get pumped out shit movies. So when a good one comes out, it just stands out so much more. So I feel like it got way elevated. I really like the movie, but I'm not the biggest movie person. I will admit that honestly. I don't watch movies as much.
But Best Picture, you know what I mean? It just seems crazy to me. I don't know. When was the last time? It would have to be I'm trying to think when the last time a movie like Top Gun was nominated for Best Picture.
Great movie.
I
thought it was a great movie.
Opinion.
Yeah.
that's a consensus opinion. There are very
Yeah.
and yeah, I agree with Kyle. There are very few good movies that are released in theaters today. Like I think in general storytelling, like epic storytelling, it doesn't happen very much anymore. But I don't think that Top Gun was like an epic story. I think it was just a like a interesting action movie, I guess. Like I don't know. I was just a little blown away by the fact that it was nominated for Best Picture. Speaking of the Best Picture noms, though, a movie that I did watch, and if you're okay with subtitles, and not to sound like a fucking nerd here, but like
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, awesome movie. Really cool movie.
Yeah, I have to watch that. I've seen really good reviews for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again because I think I got the entire gist of it, but it's a lot it's everything all at once, right? Like it's so crazy. But it's yeah, I really like it.
Ray Music saying, "Can I suggest a pick and tell me what you think about it?" Sure.
Yeah,
You got
go
time,
for it,
Andy?
right?
Yeah, go for a pick there, and
You gotta play
we'll
song
respond
first
to it.
though.
Yeah. You gotta play a song. You gotta give us a new intro song. That's what you have to do. So we can play a new intro song for Edgework, provided by Ray Music, and then we don't deal with the copyright and stuff. Because that's why Rob's dad was getting on my girl about the intro and outro song, saying how bad it was. This guy DMing me on Twitter telling me I gotta change it because it's terrible.
William Nylander over 3.5 shots on goal. Zach probably almost has a better off the top of his head opinion than I do because he watches Leafs get probably watches every game 3 times.
Yeah, I watched them
Right?
back. Watched them back right after they happened. Then I watched them in the morning again, and then depending on if it was really good or really bad, maybe a fourth time. Uh, it's plus 110 right now. I don't know. Here's what I'm seeing out of
His
William Nylander.
Wikipedia picture is awesome. Can you bring that up?
Nylanders?
Yeah, he looks like he's about
Yeah,
to
give me a
like
second.
interview. It's hilarious. He looks like he's about to like I don't know, like I interview you for a porn gig or something.
All right. All right, fair enough. All right.
Can you see it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh my God.
Here's my thoughts on Nylander just from a playing perspective. He is driving a lot of play. He got put down to Tavares' line, and if he's on that line, it's going to have to come to him as kind of something that's been really prominent in the past few games is Tavares is really good in the offensive zone. He's really good in the defensive zone, but he's not good at going from one to the other. And so it's going to have to be Nylander who's going to be driving that. I think that on the line there, especially with Yarncroke being the third piece on there, he's going to have to be the guy, if anybody tonight, that is going to have to create opportunities and shoot the puck more. I think that we could see an opportunity here with Nylander shooting more, especially playing with Tavares as opposed to Matthews. And that's not even to say that he wasn't shooting much with Matthews, but it looked like that was going to be where they went with the lines here tonight, to go back to that because they had success in that game against the Islanders. I don't know. I've been a huge fan of Nylander this season. I think that he's creating a whole lot more. He's been way more consistent, and I think over 3.5 plus 110 is a good look.
Yeah, I guess my biggest concerns, I don't like the plus money is attractive for a guy that's like generating a lot of shots right now. But I guess my biggest concern is that the Rangers don't necessarily give up a ton of shots.
Right.
And I don't know, like Toronto has played some teams that give up quite a few shots recently. You know, I think they've had that run of, so you have to take that into account where they are, he's definitely been a beneficiary of that. And maybe that gets a little tougher here over the next few games, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be probably targeting around that 3.5, so I guess for better than a coin flip, I don't hate it. I mean, it's definitely not a bet that I hate for sure.
All right, fair enough. Well, Thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. Ray, thank you for the new subscription. We look forward to seeing you every day on the Edgework Show. If you're looking for NFL content, yeah, I saw that. And the NFL content after this, you can find Rob Pizzola doing forward progress with different guests today discussing the NFL.
David under 4.5 shots looks good at -130. Like I said, I don't know, man. Columbus just gives up so much, right? Like we could see 50 shots tonight. Like it's not
from
it's not out of
alone.
the question. Like no, but yeah.
Yeah.
I want to start one thing I want to see, and if anybody sees this anywhere, I don't think like I haven't seen it, but like actual team total shots in a game, which I think would be awesome. I think that would be fun. You know, because they're gonna have to set it around 30 all the time. So I mean, it's well, a little give or take, right? But it's not gonna stray too much from that. And I think there can be some situations where you can really get some good spots.
Well, I'll tell you a fun one that I know one of the guys in the office had bet the other day. It was during the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Dallas Cowboys game.
That's football, though.
No, hold on. So I think it was the Sens maybe playing the Islanders. I can't remember who
they do offer
was.
saves.
Sens
Max.
were in it.
I like that one too, but
yeah, but they did. The bet was for there to be more shots in the Senators game, like between both teams, than Mike Evans receiving yards.
What? Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'll have to see.
Cool.
I wonder if they'll probably do some of these cross sport parlays or for the Super Bowl and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. It would be nice if they would combine the Saturday games and Sunday, like let you bet Saturday games with the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like do those cross sport parlays like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting. There might be some good things there with shots.
All right, well, if you're looking for NFL content, you can find it on the Forward Progress YouTube channel, so make sure to head over there. After this, you can find Rob going live with a bunch of guests discussing the games this weekend, so make sure to check that out. Subscribe to that channel as well, and as always, subscribe to the Edgework YouTube channel. You can find us on podcasting platforms as well. You can find all the picks that are given out on this show on the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework. Andy, appreciate you taking the time today. Hopefully Alex feels better, but Andy, I'll see you on Friday. I'll be back tomorrow with So Money and Russ. Look forward to seeing everybody then. Andy, have a good day. Good luck on your bets.